Have you ever felt like you need a secret decoder ring just to understand a stock report? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to crack the code on a technical analysis of NVIDIA and turn what looks like a wall of numbers into a story that actually makes sense. Let's dive in. I mean, if you've ever pulled up a financial report and immediately felt your eyes just glaze over, you are not alone. Not at all. It's a super common experience. But what if we decided to look at it in a totally different way? Yeah, instead of a boring, complex document, let's treat this thing like a detective story. Every single number is a clue, and our job, together, is to piece them all together to figure out the story the data is trying to tell us. So here's our case file. Our subject is NVIDIA Corp, trading on the NASDAQ. And the report we're looking at, our moment in time, is December 3rd, 2025. This really sets the scene for our whole investigation. And this is our central piece of evidence, the starting point for the whole case. The stock's price at the time of the report, $181.46. Every other clue we uncover is going to relate right back to this number. All right, for our first clue, we need to answer the most basic question. Which way is the stock generally heading? You know, is it climbing a mountain, sliding down a hill, or just kind of wandering around? Let's find out. To figure that out, we're going to pull out our first detective tool, the simple moving average, or SMA for short. Just think of it as a way to iron out all those messy daily wrinkles in a stock's price so we can see the smoother underlying trend. And here's a great way to think about it. The short-term average, that's like the daily weather report. It tells you exactly what's happening right now. But the long-term average, that's more like the climate. It shows you the overall seasonal pattern. And to get the full picture, you absolutely need both. Okay, let's look at the actual data for NVIDIA. The price is about $181. The 50-day average is higher, up around 187, but the long-term 200-day average is way lower, down at 154. So right away, we have a bit of a conflict here, don't we? So what does this actually tell us? Well, because the current price is below its recent 50-day average, that points to some short-term weakness, some bearish pressure. But, and this is a big but, it's still way above that long-term average. This suggests the bigger picture, the main uptrend is still very much in play. It's a classic case of mixed signals. Okay, clue number 1 is on the board. Let's move to our second clue. It's not just about the direction, right? It's also about the strength behind that move. Is the stock sprinting? Is it jogging? Or is it just standing still? That's what momentum is all about. And for this, our tool is the Relative Strength Index, or RSI. This is basically a speedometer for the stock. It measures how quickly the price has been changing, and it all works on a simple scale, from 0 to 100. Now, if that speedometer creeps up above 70, that's usually a warning sign for an overbought condition. It means the stock might be running a little too hot. Maybe it's due for a cool down. On the flip side, if it drops below 30, that's what we call oversold. The selling might be getting a bit extreme, and it could be a sign that a bounce is possible. So, what about NVIDIA? Where does its RSI land? It's at 46.17. Not too hot, not too cold. It's right there in the neutral zone. This clue is telling us that the momentum isn't really pushing hard in either direction. It's kind of in a state of balance. All right, on to our third and final clue, volatility. We know the trend, we know the momentum, but how bumpy is the ride? Are we talking big, dramatic price swings, or is everything pretty calm and steady? This is a really crucial piece of the puzzle. To measure this, we use a tool called Bollinger Bands. What it does is create a channel, kind of like riverbanks, around the stock's price. If the riverbanks are really wide, that means high volatility. If they're narrow, low volatility. It gives us a great visual. So it's made up of 3 lines. That middle band is just our old friend, the simple moving average, our trend baseline. Then you have the upper and lower bands, which acts like a flexible ceiling and floor, showing how far the price has stretched. Okay, let's look at NVIDIA's numbers. The current price, remember, is about $181. Well, it's sitting between that middle band at 186 and the lower band at 173. So it is clearly in the lower half of its recent trading range. And being in that lower zone, it just reinforces what our other clues have been hinting at. There's been some definite weakness lately, pushing that price down and away from its short-term average. So there we have it. Our 3 main clues are on the table: trend, momentum, and volatility. Now it's time to step back, assemble all the evidence, and deliver our verdict. What story does this all add up to? Okay, let's put it all on the evidence board. Our trend clue gave us mixed signals. Short-term weakness fighting against long-term strength. Momentum? Totally neutral, indecisive. And our volatility clue? It confirmed that recent price action is weak. Now, as you can see, no single clue here is screaming buy or sell. The story is more nuanced. For a short-term trader, this weakness might be a red flag. But for a long-term investor, seeing the stock take a little breather inside a bigger uptrend might actually look like an opportunity. It all depends on your game plan. And that leads us to our final verdict. To put it simply, the evidence suggests that NVIDIA's stock is taking a breather. We're seeing some short-term downward pressure, a period of consolidation, but it's happening inside the context of a much larger ongoing upward trend. And you know what? The report itself actually boils all this down to one number, a technical score. And in this case, it's 27.39 out of 100. This pretty low score perfectly reflects that short-term weakness and neutral momentum that our own investigation just uncovered. It's like the report is confirming our detective work. And that really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. A report like this is not a prediction. It is not a crystal ball. It is a snapshot of a single moment in time. It tells a fascinating story about the present based on all the clues from the past. The only question left is what story will the next one tell?